I want to ask you about Elon Musk. He's mocked you this morning for choosing censorship and propaganda over free speech and truth. What's your response to that?
Check this out. This is a video from Sky News, an interview with the Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese going after Elon because Elon isn't censoring enough.
I want to ask you about Elon Musk. He's mocked you this morning for choosing censorship and propaganda over free speech and truth. What's your response to that?
Well, this is a bloke who's chosen ego and showing violence over common sense. I think that Australians will shake their head when they think that this billionaire is prepared to go to court fighting for the right to sow division and to show violent videos which are very distressing. He is in social media, but he has a social responsibility in order to have that social licence. And what has occurred here is that the E-Safety Commissioner has made very sensible suggestions. Other social media companies have complied without complaint. But this bloke thinks he's above the Australian law, that he's above common decency.
What happens if the vision in question here isn't taken down?
Well, of course, there is a court order has been put in place. It's a sensible proposition. No one is above the law. Not Elon Musk, not any Australian citizen when it comes to operating here in Australia.
Guys, the Australian government just has sensible suggestions, just like when they had some of the most Orwellian and authoritarian lockdowns during COVID. They were suggestions, but if you kind of don't do them, they might have to arrest you, might have to take you away from your family. By the way, Elon Musk is above Australian law in that he is not a citizen of Australia. Twitter is not an Australian company. Now, I understand they may have offices there and they may operate there, in that Australians obviously are on Twitter, X. But Elon is in this fight and he is ready to continue this fight. We'll show you how in just a moment. But it's interesting because, you know, if it wasn't for Twitter showing us some of the violence that has occurred over these last 6 months, largely it would have been censored. It's important that people see, say, the horrific acts of October 7th, so people know that it's real, right? We have, with all the video evidence of it, people still question whether it was real or not, right? So would it just be better if the powers that be wouldn't let us see certain things for our own good? Or could we see things and choose whether we want to watch them or share them or anything else? Anyway, Elon caught wind of what the Australian Prime Minister said, and he put up a fantastic meme. I mean, this says it right here. He says, "Don't take my word for it, just ask the Australian Prime Minister." And you can see this young boy, and he's got a path. He's got a which way do you want to go? And one way is free speech. That's what the Australian Prime Minister doesn't want, because he wants to protect you. He wants his sensible suggestions, which is also known as what you could do on the right side of that, censorship and propaganda, which is why the Australian Prime Minister isn't pissed at YouTube, which obviously censors, and why some of you don't see my videos for weeks. We see that all the time. We hear that all the time. Or Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, which we'll get to in a moment, et cetera, et cetera. So that really is it.